All right, this is chapter 2. We're moving on to some of the nitty gritty. A basic day at camp looks like this. There's a leaders meeting every morning. We'll give you the time and location of those. We'll have a quick rally, talk about what's going on for the day, make sure you guys have all the information you need and get you back to your kids. We'll start the day with something called silent sounds. We're going to go to the beach every single morning and we're going to have a quiet time. When you get to the beach, we want everybody to be at least 5 to 10 feet away from the person next to them. 5 to 10 feet away from the next person. And that way they're completely isolated. It's a quiet time. It's time between them and God. We'll give them all the resources. Once we leave for camp, you'll have all the information they need. They have a student manual that has the devotional information in it. And that happens every morning. So it's going to be a really cool opportunity for us to start our day right. Then we'll go into something that are called breakouts. Breakouts are like morning teaching sessions. We're going to cover some really cool content, have an opportunity to talk about doubt, have an opportunity to talk about how to share your faith, how to make sure that you're living the life that God has for you, all those kind of things. It's going to be awesome. So those breakouts are really crucial. You'll be a part of those with your students. Then we have team time. That's when you start practicing things like your cheer, your team chants, anything you want to do to score points. Points are a huge part of this thing. We're going to talk a little bit about competition and rec a little bit later, but just know now that you will be judged all week long. Your team energy, your team spirit, your kids are going to have a cheer. They're going to perform the last day of camp. It is crucial that you go into this thing with an idea of what you want to do for that cheer. Bring any props with you, sound effects, all that kind of stuff. You want to have a good idea of what that is. The kids can definitely help and next level it, but you got to have a vision as a leader of what you want that to be. I'm also going to attach some cheers from years past so you can see kind of what the standard, the expectation is. Challenge time is rec time. There's going to be some organized games. You're going to compete as a team. We're going to give you information about that as well. You'll know that before you get there that day. What games will be happening. You'll have a chance to talk about strategy and make sure you make the most of those rec moments. Activity time is as close to free time as you get at our camp. We don't really believe in free time. Everybody has to be in groups at all times. So your team, your cabin, I don't want to get those words confused. Your cabin, so you and your 3 or 4 kids have to be together at all times. At all times. There is never a time where you can go, all right, you guys go over there, I'll meet you there. You can't do that. It's only a 3-day camp. I mean, it's all 72 hours you are together. There's ways you can kind of create some bonding in that. Maybe if you bond with your suite mates, if you have a suite situation where there's a door in between and you guys can share that space together, you and that team can work together as well. And as long as you guys communicate, maybe one trainer runs to the restroom, the other one takes care of all 8 kids at one time. There's exceptions for that. But as a general rule, you should always know where your team is at all times, and they should always be together. So if you're going to the beach, everybody goes to the beach. If you're going to the pool, everybody goes to the pool. If you're going to go sit in the lobby and enjoy the AC and talk, you all go do that. So that's happening during activity time. At night, we have the mix, which is basically our worship service for students and adults. That's the time to bring the energy. That's the time to get in there and sit down together, get as close to the front as you can, stand by that front door, come in excited, jumping up and down, high-fiving us as you come in the doors. You'll come in, it's a worship service, so we're going to have music. It's going to be awesome. We have an incredibly powerful message. We'll have some moments of commitment that we'll be challenging the kids to make in their personal life, to respond to Jesus, to take those next steps. So the mix is awesome. You're going to love it. And then we have late night games as well. So that is a basic day in camp. That'll basically be Monday and Tuesday. And there are some basic rules that we always need to know about. This is crucial. So if you tuned out on me now, focus back in. Rules are critical. This is on page 11. Students must stay with their group at all times. That's huge. We cannot find kids walking around by themselves. That is grounds for dismissal. We can send kids home. We'll send trainers home. We cannot let those kids walk around by themselves at any time. Profanity, cut downs, criticisms are not allowed. You got to set the tone from the beginning. You do not tolerate that. You challenge every student who brings negativity to be more positive. Obviously, you want to do a lot of that on one-on-one conversations, but don't let it get out of control. Don't let it start bad. Remember, start tight. Start tight. I can't say that enough. Start tight. It's always easier to loosen up later than to try to tighten up later. So don't go into this thing trying to be their best friend. That's not what you're here for. You are their leader. So lead from the beginning. It doesn't mean you're yelling and screaming and all that kind of stuff, but what it does mean is that when you speak, you expect them to respond and listen to you. So set the tone out of the gate. No profanity, no cut downs, no criticisms. Do not take any pictures in the cabin. We've already covered that, but it's worth saying again. Do not ever take a picture of a student that puts them in a compromising position. Speaking of the cabin, number one rule in the cabin, students must stay in cabins after curfew. Nobody can sneak out. There's no pranks. We don't do any of that stuff. You break it, you bought it. That's the rule for those kids. It goes for you as well. If something is broken in your room, your team will be responsible for it. If they get caught outside of the room after curfew, you will be dismissed as a trainer as well. That cannot happen. Number two, keep your room clean at all times. There will be cabin inspections. There'll be a process for that. Either you'll send in pictures or videos, or we'll come walk through your building, through your cabin specifically, and watch and see what you guys have done. There is a standard of excellence to make sure the beds are made, everything is cleaned up, no clothes laying anywhere, the bathrooms look good, all that. As I said, you are financially responsible for any damage done to the camp and the cabins. No pranks, nothing happening in those cabins. It's not perfect. Number four, guys may not enter a female cabin, and girls may not enter a guy's cabin at any time. No exceptions. That is grounds for dismissal as well. All students and volunteers are required to change inside the bathrooms. No changing in the common area. Go to the bathroom, close the door to change clothes. Everybody needs to follow that rule. Number six, do not for any reason give a student access to your cabin key without you being there. And you should never, ever, ever be alone with a student. I don't care what the circumstances are. I left my shoes, I left my Bible. Okay, we'll walk up there real quick together. You do not ever do that. Your whole group goes back to the room. Never be alone, never give them the key and tell them to go do it on their own. Do not for any reason lose your key. Don't lose them. They cost money to replace. Keep up with them. On the activity side, when you're swimming, there'll only be people allowed in the water whenever the beach is open and we have people and volunteers in place. Bring long pants and closed-toed shoes for Tuesday night dinner. And bring a pair of jeans is just smart. Make sure you have that. You're going to want at least one pair. And bring tennis shoes for rec. Don't play rec. You can't play rec in flip-flops. Whenever playing games outside, you need to have tennis shoes on. Shoes are required for all rec time activities. Emergencies, we'll cover that once we get to camp. Some of those protocols will be very situational. You have to know those things very well, and you'll know those once you get there. Medication on page 13. We talked about that earlier. Make sure you read through page 13 and you have all your medications prepared and know that there's no medications in the cabin. That's chapter 2. Are you ready for chapter 3? I don't think you're ready. Let's do chapter 3.